So there's so many fears. We talked about it. And the first fear today we are going to talk about is the fear of authority, right? So here, anyone shares this fear of authority? Show me a hand. Fear of authority. Thank you. And so this fear of authority manifests not only as somebody raising their voice or somebody shouting or somebody screaming, it will also show up in your lives through people who are dressing a different way. You don't want to go to them or don't want to speak to them. Anyone here with that fear? Right? Thank you. So the fear of authority is not necessarily an authority figure. It's also a way of dressing. It's also the way they move or the way they behave. So is there anyone here who has this fear of authority by the way they move? Show of hands. Thank you. Now, why that fear of authority by the way they move? Because of that. So I'm only talking about one of the fears from the fear of authority here. So the way they move or the way they behave. So now I want to ask you again, reflect on this. So have you decided you should not move or behave like that? Anyone here? Because of your fear of that particular movement or behavior, you don't do that. Anyone here? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So can you now see constantly what you are choosing not to do or what you are claiming that I don't behave that way or I don't dress up that way or I don't speak that way is also stemming from the fear, a fear of that box inside and not the box outside, right? How did we all get this? The fear, about the fear? Thank you. Now, this fear of authority stems from, so based on wherever you are in your life, whether you are in a profession, you are in a C level, or you are a middle management, or you're a team member, or you're an entrepreneur, or you're playing a role in communities, wherever you are, the fear of authority, to a great extent, it motivates you, but the fear of authority stems from the past. So now I want you to think about, if you have any fear of authority, I want you to think about someone who is authoritative in your past that you didn't like, or someone affected by that authority. Think about it. And if you did get something, or if you did get someone, I want you today on this platform, I want you to take the decision, and I want you to be able to see that it's in the past. Somebody must have told you something harsh, or somebody with authority must have hurt you in the past, or somebody with authority must have asked you to do things that you didn't want to do. I want you to just access that memory and see if you can just acknowledge it is over. If anyone intimidated you in the past, acknowledge that. Or if you had to act submissive for your own protection, acknowledge that and release that too. Just acknowledge that and know it's over. Thank you. Thank you. And this fear of authority does not necessarily have to be a major catastrophic traumatic experience. One of my clients, she was a child at school and she was walking with her friends, and one of the teachers called her name loud. And from then on, she does not like anybody who speaks loud to her. And now she is in management roles. So people will have a different opinion. And if people have a different opinion, she does not like them. So again, on this platform, can you reflect on that one? And see, if you say something and if somebody had a different opinion or said no to you, if you get hurt, just acknowledge that. Thank you. If somebody have a different opinion from you, and if suddenly or subtly you think they don't like me, anyone here with that? If somebody has a different opinion from you in conversations, you think they don't like you. Thank you. Can you just now acknowledge that? And just for these purposes, we can't go do too much into the work of it, but can you just acknowledge it's not true? Just stay there and let your mind know that somebody having a different opinion and not agreeing with you does not mean they don't like you. Can we all take that decision here? Collectively, can we take that one decision? Show of hands. Thank you. Right. So this fear of authority motivates you or blocks you. So one is people having a different opinion, they saying no to you, or they're dressing in a certain way. People, anyone scared of uniforms? Anyone scared of doctor coats and police uniforms? Anyone here, or any ambulances? Right. Thank you. All right. So that is also some of the common fears of authority. So if you are experiencing anything in your life or in your with your children or with your partners or parents, just observe that, right? So that's the fear of authority. As a result of fear of authority, have you ever seen in your colleagues or somebody whom you think, oh my God, she or he, they're too submissive, they are yes boss. Have you ever experienced that? That somebody is too pleasing and you judge them? Thank you. Right. So can you now step back and can you release that judgment about them because somehow you're identifying it too? Can you just step back and just release that judgment about them? Because just like us, they must have had some traumatic experience and they think that is the easiest way to survive, to live. And that's not their fault. Can we release that judgment? And if it is you who think you have to be good with people, you have to be good with authority or anybody, that can be your partner too. Anyone here who fears your partner authority and you think you have to please him or her? Yeah, thank you. Can you now release that in your mind and just see that if today's conversation is if I can bring that awareness, the purpose of this conversation is done. So the same fear of authority can come up in your partner too, not just at workplaces. And with your bosses, with your employees, you will be attracting the same thing. Now again, one more thing, just with the fear of authority. Is there anyone here who actually, though you fear authority, you want someone to control you? Anyone here? You fear authority, but you want someone to control you. Thank you. Thank you. So can you see, so I will talk about the conflict in a while, but that is also a very common trait, the trait that you will experience. So we think we have to understand ourselves and our blocks through this life and situations and personal relationships, but your career and how you react in your workplaces, in your businesses, in your entrepreneurship, that is where it also talks about who you are and how you're perceiving authority. Now, that exactly somebody, anyone, if you thought in your mind, even if you don't want to show your hand up, that fear of authority. So you don't like someone to tell you. So this is another one. Is there anyone here who don't like someone to tell you? You don't like to be told? Anyone here? Show of hands. You don't like to be told? Thank you. And when you are told, you will exactly do the other side, the other way. And you will think, and you will call it out of the box thinking. Anyone here? Thank you. All right. So this is also an indicator of your fear of authority. But we are trained in such a way to think outside the square, outside the box thinking, and we take it on us. We take it on as like I'm an outside of the box thinker or I'm outside the square thinker. But actually, what you're doing is your authority. You don't like to be told. So you have to the mind. This is not about you again. That's the nature of the mind. You don't like to be told. So because the mind does not like to be told, it has to find things that can prove them wrong. So it will be a mismatcher. It will mismatch. All right. And because of that mismatching, because of that outside the box thinking, because of the rebellious thinking, because of the out of the square thinking. And have you ever taken pride in yourself that I am the square peg in a round hole? Have you ever told yourself that I am the square peg in a round hole? Or I am different, I don't belong here? Right? Thank you. So that is also the fear of authority, and you don't like to be told. So you like to be different without being different. Right? So these fears of authority can manifest in all these forms, and you will be displaying them in all these ways in your life. As a result of that fear of authority, any time that leads to the next fear, any time that being told puts you in the corner, the thing that your mind wants to do is to escape, is to run out of it. Did you all see this? This is important, right? Now, is anyone here who starts things but you don't finish? Show of hands. You start things but you don't finish, right? Thank you. That's because while you are displaying this fear of authority and being a mismatcher and want to be an out of the box thinker, I am different, observe if there is any fear of responsibility and commitment.